Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Tuesday, the 26th of January 2021. So the headline for yesterday really is Sell Mortimer, the quote and line taken from the 1980s film starring Eddie Murphy, Trading Places. So we had a bit of a short squeeze yesterday, triggered a market roller coaster. And as it says here, we have record high call versus put volume in the options market with the little guy leading the charge. And this is the bit here, Sell Mortimer, Sell. Say taken from this classic movie from the 1980s. So once all the sheep are in, then they will unload to the market, and that's what this is alluding to there. Also, beware of bursting bubbles. JPM sees only 900 billion Biden bill passing, so that will be interesting. So it says here it appears most likely that fiscal bill passes that is closer to 1 trillion than to 2 trillion, with targeted focus on the most devastated consumers and small businesses sometime in late March or early April. So they've put this on hold, haven't they? They were hoping to get this through immediately. So since changed his tune, now he's in charge. It doesn't really want to be seen to add into the debt bubble that the US have. So be interesting, but never fear. The cavalry is here, with Janet Yellen confirmed as US Treasury Secretary yesterday. And this is her most famous line from her office as Fed Chair. I don't see a financial crisis occurring in our lifetimes. Janet Yellen, June 2017. Never heard such BS in all my life, and anybody with half a brain cell can see this, except these academics that seem to get these jobs. The Keynesian School of Economics, just keep printing, print your way out of the debt, which is an oxymoron in and of itself, isn't it? So there we go, that's the headlines from yesterday. Interestingly enough, the implied volatility has picked up a pace, and you can see there 1862 from 1803, and certainly up from the low that we saw last week of 1631. Notice also that we've crossed the 20 bar moving average, and you can see this more clearly in the color coded version. We're back to amber here as well. So let's have a look at the markets and see what happened yesterday. But just before I do that, I've just noticed I could actually cover the news as well. Today we've got no news until 3 p.m. when we have the consumer confidence report out, forecast before of 88.9, and the previous 88.6 there. Okay, let's have a look at the Dow first. Let's just see what's going on there. And we can see that yesterday they managed again to bring the market back. It was a hell of a session, as we see if we have a look at the intraday for yesterday. And let's just have a look at there we go. So yesterday, this is on the 5-minute chart. The market opened and sold off initially. Then they brought the market back. You can see here, obviously the Dow leading the way, which is why I'm showing you this. So the market came back and traded up to 89% here, and then headed south. See the climatic volume here, stopping the market down at the S3. Sorry about the color there, but that's the S3. Must change the default colours to a darker green. And then we see them bring in the market back. As I said before, they can't let the market go down, but the more news that they have that is not good, then this will be the case of the market seeing more selling, more lack of confidence in Biden. And if the money isn't going to be printed till March, April, then definitely we're going to have a correction. They'll force the correction by selling the market off, which they've done many times before. But you can see overnight the Dow there moving to the downside. Just looking for the daily chart. So there you go. So what I've done is measure from this low to this high, and we're coming back down to the 38%, and also the first time for a long time with the prospect of closing below the 20 bar moving average. This has not happened since December the 22nd, and that was only for one day, and then they managed to bring the market back on multiple occasions, though the market traded below the 20 bar moving average. So the main close below the 20 bar moving average takes us all the way back to October, when we saw the correction here down to the 200 MA, which is not unusual, and then bring in the market back there. So let's have a look at the DAX as well, just to get a flavour. We can see here that we have closed below the 20 bar moving average. We have very high volume, and we closed below the 89% retracement there as well. And what I've done is drawn in this low here where the market looks like it's going to attack it, and that's going to be at the 13,564 level. So you want to make a note of this as well. Now we don't have any more fibs if we come through. We've already gone through this 89, so I'm going to delete this. We'll leave the all-time high in, and we'll cover both bases here as well. So let's just have a look at this is the next low down. So from here up to here, we can see that we've got a 50% retracement where the market's currently trading, and just below that we have this support that we saw over here as the markets went back to make the all-time high of 14,134. So we're through the 38% retracement. And with regards to the upside, it's difficult to mark because we can't draw fibs while the market's still creating these lows. So to go from this high down to this low at the moment, we can't draw because this is a moving bar. So a bit of a nuisance there. But what you can do, you can get a ballpark idea of what's actually or the potential of what could happen, and that's to draw from this to yesterday's low. So the all-time high down to yesterday's low, and that will give you an idea. You just need to adjust slightly, but it's a ballpark figure of where you could expect some resistance on the upside with regards to these prices. So let's have a look at the 2 minutes, and what I'm going to do is to cover everything today just in this one video. I wasn't at the desk yesterday morning. I have a hobby of photography of the last 40 years, and we've had a lot of snow over the weekend, and I decided to go out as soon as I recorded yesterday morning to capture some of those pictures, and I'll put a few in here just to show you where I was missing in action and what I was actually doing, which is a shame because we had a reasonable morning as well with regards to price action closing below the high, which we know that you'll see prices find resistance at this area. You'll see the selling as well at this point, and then prices moving lower. I did leave the screen recorder on, but managed to record the 5-minute chart and not the 2-minute as well in my haste to get out and capture the photographs before the sun came up. So yeah, this is why I'm having to review the 2-minute chart this way. So we see prices closing back towards the 20 bar moving average, and then they move back to the downside. They do close back, but we've got into that sort of after the first hour where we see prices starting to trade sideways, and then we have a failed buy signal there. We've already got this potential shorting in the background. There was nothing to bring the market back, and then we've got the potential weakness as soon as this trade's filled, and then straight back down to the close as well, where the market recovered to here. And then we just traded sideways, just making lower lows each time the market closed back below the 20 bar moving average. As we see here, one green bar, one red bar. Prices then move lower. They sat on the DP mid-morning. The Dow futures opened in New York, and straight away we saw the selling coming into the market. They tried to buy it back at this point, which you can see with the volume here. But as soon as it hit the 20 bar moving average, we had further selling, and then the market moving lower. And you can see it each time it closed back below the 5 bar moving average. So you've got the 200 above the 20, the 20 above the 5. So the trend is secured on the downside, and then you can see the selling continuing. Not a single bar closing above the 5 bar until we get down into this level here, which is really interesting. In fact, I'm just going to bring up the recording of this because I was back at the desk. And here you will see, if I just wind this back, I had a look at the market, see what it was trading, and you'll see there that we've got the market trading at the 89 level. Let me just draw that again. There you go. So you've got 89% from here to here, projected to the downside, and that's where the market is. And that was giving us 627, And as I watch this, you'll see the market trading down as it comes down. We're at 33 at the moment, and then we drop down there we go. It's just I've just got to wind it back a bit here. So you'll see the market trading all the way down to the 16 level, and then the market bouncing off. So once it got down to that 89%, went below, see if there was any more sellers. There was no more selling around, and then they were free to bring the market back, which they did. And you'll see it rallying back here before the open, and then the prices stuck at the BRN, and just let me wind this back a bit. Then trading to the 20 bar moving average, and then moving back down towards the S2 there, before once again finding support. And you can see them buying in at this level as well. Spike in volume. We had one here as well where they'd moved the market down, and then the 2 bars here on lower volume, so the selling had disappeared. But just for good measure, let's take the market through. Let's see if anybody wants to sell, and also we'll take any stops out that traders have had below this BRN here. So prices then move back to the upside, and an interesting bar here as well, because you've got this bar with prices on higher volume following this bar where it moved to the upside. So struggling a bit there as well. Just a small pointer of what's going on there. Prices start to come back towards the low. Again, you've got selling pressure in this bar, even though it's below the average line. And then once we get back towards the low, you can see the market struggling. Got some selling there. They say, well, come on, let's try and bring it back. More weakness, and then eventually prices start to drift to the downside there. So again, you can see we got the pivot, we got the low of the previous day, and you can see the weakness there coming into the market with the 2 up thrusts, and then prices moving to the downside there, accelerating back then to the S2, and then you'll see buying pressure coming in, but the market not holding, so they try again, and once again to get to a BRN, and you can see how the shorts get out of their position. The brakes were being put on to slow things up, and you can see the volume building there. You get this climatic action at turning points, and then the market shows the short covering there, and then the market, everybody out before the news and before the cash DAX closes at 4:30. So there we go. So today we've got a situation where let's have a look and see where we are overnight. And you can see we're below the DP and the 200 MA, and still there at the moment. And now we're back to the crucial area, of course, that is the low of yesterday. And the market at the moment finding a bit of support there. It'd be interesting to see what the futures market does, which opens in about 10 minutes time, and see if prices will move back to the upside towards the 200 MA. So even though we're down on the overnight, it's not one of chasing the market. It's very easy to turn the market around or to continue in the short side as well. But as we say, they're at the crucial point here, the low of yesterday, where they'll do whatever they can to try and bring this back. And if it fails at the 200 MA, then we go short from 8 a.m. of the opening of the cash market. Okay, that will do it for this one. As ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.